morning, Becky. How are you
Hey,
today?
I'm good, thank you. I've had a nice morning. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we last
Yeah,
had a catch up?
yeah. Was it a couple of months ago? I think
Yeah,
something like that. I did no, and I did enjoy it. Yeah,
it's been
it's
really
good.
good. And of course, we've had the summer break in between, and
Yeah.
we've both been away. Where have you been?
So I was lucky enough to go to Disneyland Paris, which was
Ooh.
awesome. I absolutely love it. And if we want to go a bit geeky, I did like to see the evolution of animatronics on the
Oh,
different
wow.
rides.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
looking at things like which one was it? I don't know if it's the Seven Dwarfs ride or something like that. There's like different rides that are really old, and the animatronics are like really, really basic. And then you go on the Marvel rides where it's all brand new technology and it's all just so smooth, and you're like, oh wow. And I get very geeky about stuff like that and how technology has changed and those sorts of things as it's grown. But yeah, it was a fantastic holiday. Was it you Scotland that you went to?
I did indeed go to
Yeah,
Scotland. So we've been traveling Scotland every summer for 5 years. And
yeah.
this year it was up through the Cairngorms, and I saw the most beautiful Milky Way one night.
Oh
And
wow.
so I'm into all things sort of STEM related anyway. So
Yeah,
beautiful Milky Way. And then we made our way up towards the north coast and always taking pieces of the North Coast 500, which is a scenic route around Scotland.
yeah.
And then we went across to Orkney, which
Oh
was quite
right.
interesting, yeah, to find out all about Neolithic peoples. And
Wow.
it was really, really interesting. So then we came back onto the mainland, and we also went to the most northwestern point, Cape Wrath, where shipping forecasts used to be done from. So these are my geek facts.
Yeah.
And basically that's another sort of short ferry ride, and then 15 miles an hour up a road. You've got to plan all these things. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Um, and then we went across to the Isles of Lewis and Harris and just had some very quiet time. It was really good.
Yeah, it sounds busy, very busy, busy holiday.
It is busy, but you take in so much, you learn so much.
Yeah.
And here's a geek fact about me. I like looking at the weather map after the news every evening and looking at the United Kingdom map and thinking, I've been there, and everywhere. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to
that's
work out
good.
how I get to Shetland next, tick off
Yeah.
Lerwick.
Have you seen those little scratch off things that you can get for your wall? You can get like a display with scratch off material so you can scratch off where you've been around the world. I think those are
Oh,
quite
no.
cool. They're
No,
quite nice to
okay.
have. That would help you tick it all off as you go along, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I like all that sort of stuff. Okay, so our world of tech. We're both former teachers who are on an entrepreneurial journey. We run
Yep.
our own businesses now. And
Yeah.
I like to call mine a portfolio career. I think yours would fall into the category too of
Yeah.
having a portfolio career. We do quite a few different things. I actually say the portfolio career is doing the best bits of what you like
Yeah.
doing. Of all the jobs you've ever had, all the best bits. So you put them together and you make your career around that. And it gives you flexibility and autonomy over your life, and it just ensuring that your future is in your control. You are I use an old fashioned statement, master of your own destiny there. So I've been looking at the news this morning and interested in tech. I'm like, what's going on with tech? How is it shaping our world? So I've been wondering what's been grabbing your attention.
Well, it's interesting you said that you'd been to Orkney because I don't know if you saw the Sky News article lately. They're
Yeah.
actually trialing for the next 3 years electric ferries. And if you see the picture of them, I suppose we can put a link somewhere if people are looking. If you
Yeah,
see
of
pictures of
course.
them, they do look like something out of a sci-fi movie because they're kind of hovering over the sea or whatever. I don't know. Is it the sea? I don't know. You're better
yeah.
traveled than me. I don't know. I'd have to find it on a map. But yeah, so and they look really interesting, and I think they're on a mission to decarbonize their whole fleet, and this is just one
Mhm.
of the ways that they're considering doing that. So that seems quite exciting, and how you can use sort of electric technology to do that sort of stuff. So that was probably the main thing that interested me at the moment in that Sky News report.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I think the ferry I took was one of the Calmac ferries. I went from Scrabston, the North Coast, over to Stromness. And it was very nice ferry, I would say that. And so
Yeah.
we might tag Calmac after this to find out what's going on with any electric ferries. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could
it'd be
find
interesting.
out,
Yeah, maybe on one of your future trips, you can try one out.
Well, indeed, the smoothing across was very, very smooth.
Mm,
The sailing across, it's very smooth in
yeah,
the first one. Coming back, it was very rough. I just sat down. It was 6:30
yeah,
in the morning, and I
yeah,
thought, oh my gosh, I'm a bit seasick here.
yeah. I bet.
Right, I'll tell you. There's a couple of things have been catching my attention, and I've got an interest in AI and how it's changing our world. And I
Mm.
noticed that the Stable Diffusion company, Stable Diffusion, they've got stability audio being released.
Okay, what's
So
that then?
it's, if you think of things like ChatGPT, which is you type in text and you get text prompts and you get some text generated for you, or
Yeah.
DALL-E and you type in text and it creates an image for you, some sort of abstract image. Well,
Mm.
Stable Audio is typing in a text prompt and it creating audio for you.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So can
I
you
could have done
choose
with that.
different, is it different voice? You can choose different voices or
I don't know. I haven't had a go on it as yet. I've just seen the headline. I thought that's one I'm interested in because yesterday I was writing resources and I just needed some music to link between the sections,
yeah,
and I just wondered if I could have just generated my own music.
yeah.
Does it lead to more creativity for someone like me who's not a musician, or does it put you know proper musicians out of work? I don't know there. So it's just really
Yeah.
interesting. I want to get my hands on this and
I think this is
have
it,
a good
isn't it?
time.
Because like I'm always like that. Whenever anything new AI tech comes out, I'm like, okay, well, who's losing their job from this? And what
Mhm.
are we doing as a society to ensure that we're protecting them, or we've got alternative careers? Like, what are we doing there? Um, obviously, there's a lot of people out there that do voiceover work that they're going to lose their job if AI can just do that for them. But yeah, it's really tricky, isn't it? Because you can't sort of deny the evolution of technology because it's happening and it's going to
Mm.
happen. But we have to put those sort of things in place to ensure that people don't like lose their sort of source of income, and they can change to something else if that can be beneficial. But I do think potentially that we'll get to a point where people will be sick of AI generated stuff,
Mhm.
and they'll want to go back to more natural, real things. It like as a sort of anti AI thing. But I mean, maybe we'll sort of ride this wave for a little while, and then people will kind of reject it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? You've got to look at like CDs, like the
Mm.
teenagers now are playing CDs in their bedrooms because it's like a physical thing that they can use, and they're kind of going back to sort of that.
Mm.
And I never thought the CDs would ever come back, and they have. So I don't know. We'll
I've
see.
got loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. What jobs are emerging and what are in rapid decline, and I write and talk about this quite a lot, and how were people who don't work in tech careers as such,
Yeah.
how do they keep up with what's going on? And that's part of one of the courses I'm writing, which can't tell you much right now, but maybe next time I'll be able to let you know a bit more about
Yeah.
that, because we need to be doing more as a
Mm.
society and as educators to spread the message so people can start understanding how tech is affecting them, because it's embedded into everything. And
Yeah.
just being with just a few tech companies, the message needs to travel down further to
Mm-hmm.
everyone. There's another headline I saw. It's about Iceland. You can now buy your Iceland products apparently through Amazon. Now I believe you can already do that with Morrison's. So
Yeah.
again, that's changing how we shop. So if you're
Yeah.
not going into Iceland down the high street or in a retail park, and you're not going into the store next door, but you're just going online, what's the knock-on effect of that? So this
Yeah.
is changing high street, really.
Yeah, I think that's it, and you do worry about high streets. I've got quite a nice little high street near me, but you can over the years, I mean, I've lived here since I was born, in my area, and I've seen it completely change, and there's empty stores and things like that.
Mhm.
And I think the best thing we can do with that situation is make them community spaces so that people can actually go and do something, and then maybe the shop next door, they can buy some local crafts or whatever that have been made by the community. I love a maker space. So having something like that where a community can go and work together, and hopefully that would encourage them to be on the high street, and then they'll use those shops that are nearby that are still open. And I think high streets and shopping centres, they are becoming more sort of an entertainment
Mm.
space rather than like you just go there to buy a product. You go
Mhm.
there for entertainment, for a bit of fun. um our local shopping centres just replaced an empty space with a bowling alley, like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's lots of stuff going on, but we have to adjust and we have to figure it out, so that we don't just end up with these empty spaces and just nothing happening there, because that's not good for communities. um
Mm.
yeah.
I agree. As human beings, I still think we need that social aspect and
Yeah.
interacting with each other. And if memory serves me correctly, you did a makerspace recently, and I could see your books in the background,
Yeah.
and lots of you talking to children and their parents. Can you tell, what else? Remind me what you were doing with that.
Oh gosh, I've done quite a few sort of little maker activities, I guess. I haven't made a maker space in a community, but I've made, like, I've got my little area in my office that's my mini maker space. And I suppose it's like a hobby, I guess, in a way. It's trying to have a hobby that I say not screen based. It kind of is screen based. But if you're building things, you're not so much
Mm.
sort of, you're not scrolling through social media or something like that. It's an actual hobby. But yeah, I think that the person that I admire the most in terms of maker spaces is Caroline Keep, who's up north, and she set up maker spaces up there and built communities, and
Mhm.
where people can just go and help each other out on different projects and things like that, and they're just great spaces for communities to go to.
Mhm.
So I think it would be awesome if every high street had a maker space that people would go to and just learn from each other and support each other and collaborate. But they're expensive to set up, you need funding, all that kind of stuff. But there's funding out there, let's put it in the right place with the communities that need them, and not waste it.
Well, maybe, and we don't know who's listening to us today. So if anyone would
Yeah.
like, we are entrepreneurs and we're interested in this spaces where
Yeah.
people, children can get together and learn and talk to each other,
Mm.
collaborate, solve problems. Like I can see you've got 101 unplugged activities there. Funnily
Yeah.
enough, I've also got that. So I've been having
Ah,
a look at
cool.
it.
Brilliant.
Because I just think that this is one of the books in your company, I should say, from Flip Computing,
Yeah.
and I think anywhere we can collaborate and get that human interaction is really, really important.
Mm.
There's a couple of things, I mean, as you know, I'm an author also, and I've got the Smart Cities, the first book in the digital adventures of Ava and Chip. And
Yeah.
then we've got book two is, oh, where is it? There it is, self-driving car. And there's a third one coming out, so watch this space.
Oh,
It's a
are we allowed to
series.
know what's the title? Or you're not saying what the title is?
I'm not saying what's the
Okay,
title of
okay.
the Essentially, I think we could have author spaces in some of
Yeah,
these, units that aren't being used, and
Mm,
so children can come along and enjoy story time, because we've got libraries being closed,
yeah.
and so maybe we need to make these spaces slightly different. So
Mm,
there's an author story time there, then you go across and you make, and we can have different stations, just
yeah.
so that we get people interacting with each other. So no one is sort of locked away in their bedrooms, not interacting, and we're getting problems with social isolation then. So I do think
Yeah.
we can do a lot around the high street there, So shameless
Yeah.
plugs for what we do, but we are committed and passionate about this. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Well, what other projects are you working on? Are you working on anything else at the moment?
Well, we've just released this book, which is we've got a few I'm a Digital Artist books, just really sort of, I say
Oh,
beginner friendly. It is beginner friendly, but it's trying to, oh yeah, you've got our other one, which is our underwater creatures. We're
uh,
trying to sort of use the Scratch platform, which is free for anyone. Anyone can access Scratch in different forms depending on where you are. Um, and there's lots of things in Scratch that people don't tend to use. It tends, like the focus is very much on programming, but
mhm,
actually it's got a paint editor, so you can draw loads of different things in Scratch. Like you don't
mhm,
even need to code or anything. You can draw your pictures, you can download them as SVGs, and you can put them in your projects. So you can actually get, there's this free tool that's beginner friendly for people to use. So that's why we decided to do this series of books, and we've just done a space themed one. And like, if young people use them to learn, they'll get their digital skills for manipulating vector graphics, and then
mhm.
they can use those to make their own things and make things a bit more personalized. And we actually use some of the underwater resources at Liverpool Make Fest,
Ah, yes.
July, I think it was. And we had those resources out, and we expected it to be, quite a young audience that were
Mhm.
using them. But actually, it was sort of from 3 to 16. So we had two 16-year-old boys sat there doing the graphics, absolutely absorbed in it, really enjoying it, and
Mhm,
just
mhm,
having that sort of leisure time to do some art was just really, really nice, and to practice digital skills. So it was brilliant to see the range of people using it, which
mhm,
which was really, really good. And that's kind of our mission, is making sure that whatever we create, it appeals to a wide audience, not like the typical audience. So we were really impressed with that. So that's what we've just done. Yeah, and we're just trying to look at the moment on unique ways of using Scratch, I guess, that aren't sort of your typical things that you find, because there's a lot of parts of computing that you can teach through Scratch, but in novel ways. So we're sort of investigating that at the moment. That's what we're working on.
Oh, it sounds really, really exciting and interesting. And
Yeah.
you made a couple of good points there, which I completely agree with. And it's I'm a bit biased in that way. I completely agree with this, understanding tech a lot more. And
Yeah.
I really think we need to broaden this understanding of tech. And one of the things I'm doing is collaborating with TV parenting expert Sue Atkins, who you may have
Yeah.
seen on programs like Jeremy Vine, and she also works with the Disney Channel. And we're doing a tech parenting hour, which you're going to start seeing cropping up. And the first one is next week, next Tuesday. So it runs on Twitter from 8
Yeah.
till 9 in the evening. And it's about what parents can do to you know, improve their children's knowledge around tech, and also their own knowledge. So what you're doing feeds in
Mm,
your work feeds into that. My books and reading around tech, and reading for pleasure about technology. And as you
yeah.
said, it isn't just about coding. And my books are certainly not about coding, and it
Yeah.
certainly isn't portraying tech in a frightening, robotic way, because
Yeah.
tech is all around us. And as we mentioned with the AI and changes to how we're shopping and things like that. It's all being driven by tech in this current age in which we live. So, if you're listening, and join in with Tech Parenting Hour and Parenting Hour, the two hashtags over on Twitter with myself and Sue Atkins, and well, you'll be online too at that time. And
I probably will, unless I've gone to bed, because I tend to go to bed quite early. But if I'm awake, I will definitely be following along.
And you can catch up later on it anyway. But get involved. This whole
Yeah.
thing about tech parenting. What
Mm,
can we do to ensure that the message is getting to everyone who needs it? And because
yeah,
I know that's something that you and I both feel quite passionately about, is ensuring that tech is in the hands of everyone, not
yeah.
just a few. And your company works with a lot of inclusive resources, and I mean
Mm,
that's one of the reasons I started writing also. It's because the characters in my book, tech is being explanations are led by mom, which is modeled upon myself, and I'm
mm.
female from an ethnic minority, and I'm out with my children, and just it's just going against what's usually shown to us.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying tech, my children are enjoying tech, you're leading on tech also as a woman. We're girls talking tech today, so
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
this is wonderful. I think I'd like to think that we are really good role models for technology, and
Yeah, hopefully.
so
It's
yeah.
interesting. The another organisation that's doing quite a good job that I've been looking at recently is Tech She Can.
Oh
They've
yes.
just released well, I say they've just released, they keep releasing new animations
Mhm.
based on different things, different types of technology, and it's very much aimed at the younger audience. And there's some really good animations in that series that parents can look at, but also in primary schools as well. You can use them to show at the beginning of a lesson to introduce a topic and things like that. There's some really nice things there as well that I've been looking at recently, that they're doing, which is pretty cool.
Yes, they've got the Katie and Tex characters in their
Yes,
animations. Yeah,
yes,
I've seen those.
yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah,
really, really great. Yeah,
yeah, they're
wonderful.
good.
I mean, it's nice to see women leading in this space.
Yeah,
Real women, we do
yes,
exist.
absolutely. Yeah, we are here, and we do like to do things and help people, and we are here, and we're ready to support when anyone needs us.
Well, yes, that is true. So,
Yeah.
is there anything coming up soon? Anything else that, to keep our eyes on?
Gosh, no, we're quite busy. We're doing something new, but we can't really talk about it at the moment. But yeah, again, something for later on that we can that we can talk about. I think this is a problem, isn't it? We're doing these little, because we're entrepreneurs, we're always doing these sorts of projects behind the scenes that we can't necessarily talk about. But yeah, it's definitely something big and exciting that we're really looking forward to talking about soon. But yeah, I can't talk about. I'm really sorry, I can't talk about
That's okay. That's okay.
it.
I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been
Yeah,
learning
you tell
TikTok.
me. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's I mean, every social media platform has got its quirks, and as you know, I'm a qualified coach, and I talk about a portfolio career, and you know, doing the bits that you like. Is that your dog? It's just joined
Yeah, my
us.
dog just decided to.
Oh, you
It's
can
because
show
I've
us your
stopped.
dog. It's okay.
She did. It's because it's lunchtime now, and she
Ah,
knows it's
yeah.
lunchtime, and she's going, "Excuse me, it's lunchtime."
Will we
So I have to
finish
keep
shortly?
stroking her. I have to keep stroking her so she doesn't bother me. But no,
Children
carry
and
on.
pets.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I've been learning TikTok and learning just the style. I'm Coach Beverly, Miss B Clarke over on
Mm,
TikTok, and I'm just learning a few things. So check it out. See, you'll see the evolution of my TikTok journey from some videos which, to be quite honest, needed a lot of improvement. So it's that whole
yeah.
self-reflection process, thinking, what's wrong with this? This doesn't really look good, sound good. I need some improvement. So I've got a 21-year-old to advise me. Someone who's using that platform. I went to the target audience uh,
Yeah.
of that platform and just started, interacting with them and learning a few tips. So learning, continuous learning is what it's all about for me at the moment.
Yeah, it is tricky TikTok because I mean I go on it quite a bit, you know, and you get sucked into the
Oh,
the
yeah.
scroll thing. It's like, okay. And then the little puppy comes up to tell you to start screen time. So I was like, oh, okay, probably should come off it now. Been on it way too long. Um, but yeah, and there's so many different styles and different ways of doing it. And I always find, you know, people who are authentic and just get to the point straight away. Because I get
Mm.
really annoyed if it's like, no, 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 no. By the way, I'm so and so, and I do so and so. It really gets on my nerves. So my tip would be just to start, go bam straight in with whatever your point is, and it's like, do you need to say who you are? I don't know. Do you? I haven't seen any of your videos, so I do apologize if you go, I'm very.
You don't. You definitely don't need to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'll tell you the feedback I had. That's like listening to the news. Nobody's
yeah,
interested. Just get
yeah,
straight into the point and
yeah,
say it. So I like what you just said about screen time coming up because that's one of the a tech parenting tip. So to
yeah,
talk about screen time, how much time you're online. So things like tips to help parents. This is what's going to be coming up in the Twitter chat that
yeah,
Sue Atkins and I are doing. Those tips, and you know, if that comes up on your phone or your device, then share that with your child, and then you're
mm,
modeling good good usage of tech. And so it's those
yeah,
organic conversations that could happen at home, which are
yeah.
really, really important as just one part of understanding tech. But I know your dog is hungry.
I know she wants her dentist stick. That's what it is. She has to wait for me to have lunch, and then she has her dentist stick. So she's like, "Come on, it's dentist stick time now."
Well, it's been really good talking to you today, Becky.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so we'll catch up on another Girls Talk Tech very soon, and I'll find
Yeah,
out what
absolutely.
I'm doing.
Yeah, look forward to it. Maybe we can both reveal our secret things at that point.
Think so. I think,
Maybe.
yeah, that would be very good. Yeah, it should be able to do that by then. Yeah.
I hope so.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to go and grab some lunch also, and so will you. And I'll talk to you again next month.
Yep. See you
All
soon.
right, then. Take care. Bye.